Mr. Bodek?
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. In case of an emergency, we're going to use the doors on the rear. Everybody will walk out calmly down the steps and to the outside away from the building. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please sign in on the white sheets right here in front of me. Anybody with a cell phone, turn them off. You need to talk, step outside. Mr. Boda, can you please call the roll?
1 second, sir. Mrs. Ormond?
She's excused.
Javik?
Here.
Brown? Here. Mohammed?
I don't know. He's excused, sir.
Excused. Ms. Cosby?
Present.
Roman?
Here.
Strano?
Here.
Yamakaitis?
Here.
Medina?
Here.
Hickey?
Here.
Mr. Alvarez?
I'm right here. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the June 19th, 2018 regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of June 19th and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mayor, we have a presentation. Would you like to come to the front, please? Excuse me? Is anybody here from the 9/11 Foundation? No, sir.
All right, we have a proclamation. It's for the 911 Foundation. It reads as follows. Whereas on Tuesday, September 11, 2001, an Islamic terrorist group by the name of Al-Qaeda carried out a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks. And whereas the attacks of September 11, 2001 changed our world forever, and the state of New Jersey was greatly impacted by the tragedies that occurred on that date. And whereas the heroics of the members of the many fire, police, and other emergency agencies who acted courageously to protect and serve should never be forgotten. Whereas in October 2001, America's 911 Foundation, Inc. was established to fund a college scholarship program for children of active first responders, EMS, fire, and police, who each day place their lives on the line for all of us. And whereas the foundation also assists emergency organizations with funds, materials, equipment, or volunteers when needed, and whereas the foundation has sponsored an annual memorial ride in August to help raise funds in support of this worthy cause. And whereas on Saturday, August 18th, 2018, the memorial ride will be stopping at Aviation Plaza in Linden, New Jersey for its 15th and final ride. And whereas the mayor wishes to commend the foundation for their worthy efforts and encourage support for the mission of the foundation for the past 15 years. Now therefore it be resolved that I, Derek Armstead, Mayor of the City of Linden and the State of New Jersey, do hereby declare this third Saturday, August 18th, 2018, recognize that America's 911 Foundation for their selfless efforts in support of our first responders and their families and for contributing generously to the same. And that we commend the participants of the 9/11 ride and America's 9/11 Foundation for honoring those who have served us all so well and remembering us that we never forget. Signed by me, Derek Armstead, Mayor of the City of Linden.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to start with ordinance and hearing. Mr. Bodek, can you please start with 6244?
An ordinance creating a new chapter in the code of the City of Linden entitled Business Hours.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has any written communication received?
No, sir.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this ordinance? In that case, may I have a motion, please?
Sorry. Council President, I move ordinance 6244 for adoption and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Bodek, can you please read 6245?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23, 1999, and approved November 24, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. 2-12, Department of Police, delete Section 2-12.12, Special Law Enforcement Officers, add Section 2.12.12, Special Law Enforcement Officers.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Can, want to be heard?
My name's Craig Halloran, 120 Donaldson Place. What is a special law enforcement officer? And what are their salaries, their cost of benefits, and what are their duties? And why do we need them?
Yes, Mr. Antonelli?
Thank you, Council President. Sir, the special law enforcement officers are obviously not a fully authorized officer that has all the powers of arrest, et cetera. But there's different types of classes of special law enforcement officers. For example, depending upon the class, they help out with traffic detail. Sometimes there's an accident, there's certain things that can be done. Specifically as to this ordinance, what we're doing this evening, if it passes, legislation was passed not too long ago creating a new class of special law enforcement officers who are retired officers that could do security at schools. So this governing body has been proactive, along with the mayor, in its attempts to address certain issues that have been taking place throughout the country related to, unfortunately, school shootings. So this ordinance and what we're proposing to do here will allow the city as well as the Board of Ed to come to terms on a shared services agreement to allow retired law enforcement officers to be posted at the schools in the city of Linden to obviously ensure not only the children who attend, but the teachers and then visitors to ensure their safety at the schools. I could tell you right now that that's a work in progress. There are discussions with the Board of Ed that I'm not at liberty to disclose right now, but the Board of Ed would be taking on the lion's share, if you will, the cost to do that. Right now, we are internally going over numbers to obviously, as you indicated, to indicate what the cost of each officer would be. But that's something that's in discussion. At some future point, we will be presenting a shared services agreement where we'll have those specific numbers.
Anybody else? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to move that ordinance number 62-45 hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted, and I request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Bodek, can you please read 6246?
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $77,000 for citywide curb and sidewalk reconstruction for and by the city of Linden, and authorizing the issuance of $73,150 bonds or notes of the city for financing part of the appropriation.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move to close the public hearing of ordinance number 6246. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6247?
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $165,000 for acquisition of playground equipment and renovation for various parks for and by the City of Linden, and authorizing the issuance of $85,500 bonds or notes of the city for financing part of the appropriation.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move to close the public hearing of ordinance number 6247. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6248?
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance establishing a schedule of titles, salary ranges, and regulations for maintaining the classification and salary standardization plan of all employees of the City of Linden, passed August 15, 1995, and approved August 16, 1995, adding Schedule 4-MM-6.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the hearing for ordinance number 62-48 be closed, the ordinance adopted, and I request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6248?
An ordinance adopting an amended redevelopment plan for the Park Plastic Site, initially governing the redevelopment of Block 496, Lot 3, to include Block 496, Lot 4, on the tax maps of the city pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 48:12A-1 at sequence.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the hearing be closed and ordinance 6249 be adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6250?
An ordinance to adopt the redevelopment plan entitled 1001 West Elizabeth Avenue redevelopment plan, Block 423, Lot 4.02, pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 48:12A-1 at sequence.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the hearing for ordinance 62-51 be closed, the ordinance adopted, and I request a second.
Second.
Hold on a minute. Isn't 6250?
6250.
So that's yours, Barry.
Yeah, Council President?
Yes.
Okay, so I move to close the public hearing of number 6250. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6251?
Council President, if I just may interrupt, if Mr. Poles is here, I believe this ordinance, when it was referred to the planning board, was this the redevelopment where they had some issues with it? There's supposed to be some comments by at least one member of council on the record. They indicate that although the planning board has rejected certain of their proposals, this governing body still feels it's in the best interest of the city to proceed with the ordinance, notwithstanding the planning board's, I guess, non-recommendation.
That's right, you did mention that. Is there anybody in the dais that wants to make a comment? Councilman Brown? Councilman Chavez?
Mr. Alvarez, just ask Mr. Polis what statement.
Mr. Pauls, is there a statement necessary for this?
Council President, there's no statement necessary. In the past, the council had an instance where the planning board gave specific comments to council with regards to consideration. There was a correspondence with the planning board. The planning board declined to make a recommendation, but also I presume in its interest declined
You do?
whatsoever and say that it would not recommend it. Now, however, in the local redevelopment housing law, as is the purview of this
Yeah, can you please come out to the podium? I'm sorry.
To the
So that
mic,
would
so
folks
people
at home
can
people at
hear
home
you.
can hear you. Press the button. There you go.
Sorry, everyone. So previously, there was a redevelopment plan. Certain comments came back from the planning board, which were accepted in part and rejected in part by the city council. In this instance, there were no such comments provided by the planning board for its reasoning as to why it declined to recommend the redevelopment plan to this council. However, pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, this council, as is in its purview and which it has just done, can approve the redevelopment plan by a majority of its convened council. So in essence, there's 11 members of the council. It could go forward with 6 affirmative votes. This evening, there's 9 affirmative votes. There were no specific comments from the planning board that it needed to be addressed. So opining on a legal position, I believe what the council has proceeded to do is adequate under the local redevelopment and housing law. And I thank Mr. Antonelli for bringing it to the council's attention, and I apologize for not piping up earlier.
Okay, thank you. Just to play it safe, Councilman Roman, you want to, you sure? Okay, then in that case, anybody else, Mr. Principado? Oh, hold on a minute.
We voted already.
Yeah, sorry, we already voted on it. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6251?
An ordinance to adopt the Avenue C redevelopment plan concerning Block 580, Lot 13 and 14 on the tax map of the City of Linden pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 48:12A-1 its sequence.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody wish to be heard on this ordinance?
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. What exactly is the Avenue C redevelopment plan entail?
Mr. Pauls, can you please come up to the microphone?
Evening, and I apologize for not introducing myself to the members of the public. James Polis from Manneman, Scotland, Bauman Redevelopment Council to the City of Linden. Good evening, sir. So in general, council members, the Avenue C redevelopment plan, what we're calling it, encompasses Block 580, lots 13 and 14, but what might be more generally known as the old Walmart site. Currently, there's interest from property owners of the Block 580, lots 13 and 14, to do perhaps some type of mixed retail on the frontage with perhaps some warehouse space or other similar uses on the rear of these parcels. As opposed to some other redevelopment plans that have come before the council this evening where there's a definitive plan in place and a redeveloper that's ready to put shovels in the ground. This was more of a preliminary and comfort feel for the property owner to give a little bit of flexibility, maybe to market it to interested tenants that might be looking to come on and come in and build or come into space that might already be available to it. There's no, just so the council's aware, there's no redevelopment agreement or financial agreement contemplated for this plan as it currently stands. This is basically a vehicle for the city of Linden as an enticement for maybe a developer or somebody else who might be interested to see what the city is looking forward. We worked with Paul Rickey, the city's planner, to get general concepts that might work best in this area. And we believe this is a worthwhile piece of legislation and redevelopment plan for the city council to consider this evening for this area.
Thank you, sir. Got your answer?
Yeah, is it going to be rezoned?
Oh, we don't know that. This is just the beginning, the
Okay.
first steps.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the hearing for ordinance 6251 be closed, the ordinance adopted, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6252?
An ordinance approving the application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with PR2 GAR Tremley Point Property 2 Urban Renewal LLC.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard? Please come on, Ms. Wolferdine.
Diane Wolferding, 6th Ward. I am all for redevelopment because that's supposed to help us with our taxes, but I get nervous when I read long-term tax exemption, and it's for this one and the next one. Can I have a little explanation on how long-term we're talking?
Mr. Pauls, can you please come up?
You might as well stay here.
It's two separate.
Might as well stay here, but I'm hoping that I won't be needed eventually, but. Mayor and council, ma'am, so, and we can take them in tandem, although I know separate action is required on each ordinance, but basically, these next two financial agreements are 30-year financial agreements. This was formally before the council, and the council did previously approve about a year or two ago a financial agreement for one specific area in the Tremley Point area. If you've been following along with several council meetings, or maybe you've heard that that area is under control by a private entity that's looking to redevelop the whole Tremley Point area into approximately 8 warehouse spaces that will be over 4 million square feet of warehouse. So in so doing, and in order to make the project viable, the redeveloper has requested, and the city's financial analyst, NW Financial, have crunched the numbers in the pro forma, which ranges from everything from building costs through what the developer thinks they will get eventually at the end of the day with rent on a per square foot basis, and have determined that a financial agreement or financial agreements are appropriate for the council to consider and even approve, should it so be the governing body's wish, and that there will be step-ups in the annual service charge, which is based on the annual gross revenue of the project. So each project will be 30 years. There will be, for 10 years of each agreement, there will be a collection of 10.5% of the annual gross revenue of each project for the first 10 years.
That the city gets?
Yes, that the city gets. Under the current structure of the long-term tax exemption law, 95% comes to the city, 5% goes to the county, and there's also a 2% administrative fee that's collected by the city. For the first 10 years, it would be 10.5% of annual gross revenue. The second 10 years, or years 11 through 20, would be 12.5% annual gross revenue, and the years 21 through 30 would be 14.5% annual gross revenue. Also of note, and this is in conjunction with, which came before the governing body, I believe 2 months ago and was approved, is with complete private investment, a bridge that actually, if you're familiar with the area, was an old roadway or train service line that ran through that basically made the land that's now going to be developed undevelopable because nobody had the property rights to property on either side of the train tracks. 2 months ago, that has also been bought by this joint venture that's going to develop all the warehouses. And the council approved, I believe 2 months ago, a developer's agreement to govern the construction of a raised roadway built 100% by private funds in order to make this Tremley Point parcel accessible to the redeveloper who will redevelop it into 8 warehouses.
Isn't there talk about some access road? Wouldn't that be in that area too, off of the turnpike, so the trucks aren't coming down my street?
That is, and I don't think we're getting too far over our skis to contemplate that, but that has been a constant consideration and discussion. It's, as the council members can probably speak to better than I can, it's been a long time coming just to get this far, and to have private dollars come into the area to build the raised roadway on its own, and then have a concept for the warehouses. And I don't think I'm giving too much away when I say internally the city has been discussing options, and it's on the radar of the city to, whether it's approaching NJDOT or whatever else the city has to do in order to make, you know, ingress and egress even better, and you know, make the project even more viable for the city.
Is there still property in that area for when eventually they do the access road, or are these warehouses going to be on that area?
No, I do not believe the warehouses will totally subsume the property area. I do believe there is adjacent areas where it's contemplated that an access roadway could be constructed.
Well, I still get nervous when I hear of tax exemptions. I know Councilman Brown mentioned when the apartments at the end, or the condos, no, that big building at the end for you know, people to live in and use the train station, had talked about that, you know, tax exemptions are not always good for the city. So that makes me nervous. And we really should be looking out more for the taxpayer. So it makes me nervous that we're giving away a lot to a developer. And yes, we need that area developed, but like Councilman Brown had explained with that building, that, you know, could have gotten a better deal, so.
Thank you. Anybody else? May I have a motion, please? Oh, Councilman?
All right. So, yes, you have a very valid point. I think that was a couple years ago. It was according to the Mitchell report with pilot programs. I think we go by a case-by-case scenario when we talk about doing pilot programs. And what brought me over as far as seeing the benefits is that I think 95%, Alex, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe of the revenue goes towards the municipality. And the object of a pilot program is to bring in revenue to the city, but then also to get a redevelopment project started. The reason why they are 30 years is that banks, when they go to finance these projects that are multi-million-dollar projects, they need to see some type of stability in the payments and expenses that are going out. What really convinced me to go over this, to look at it case by case, is Woodbridge, for example. John McCormick, the mayor of Woodbridge, is a good friend of Mayor Armstead and myself, talked to us about the benefits of pilot programs and how it's helped Woodbridge with their stabilizing their tax base and things like this. And John McCormick is a former treasurer of the state, and so he saw benefits in his town. And I think that's what's really driven some of these pilot programs you've seen, is the economic growth that is brought down, that has been brought to the town.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Ed Kaminsky, Maple Avenue. Yes, so I definitely agree, and I, with the last speaker, I think at the end of the day, these are schemes. And one entity is basically, seems to me, is screwing another. And at the end of the day, I don't know what the benefit is. I understand Councilman Brown's comments about Mr. McCormick, but what specifically is he referring to, right? I mean, this body and folks on this body have constantly reminded us, the taxpayers, how, hey, we're responsible for the municipal portion, but yet there's the county portion, Board of Ed, they're cut out of this. So someone's screwing somebody here, right? And at the end of the day, if the Board of Education is going to be funded by tax dollars and by our tax dollars, then maybe we should make it totally transparent, clean. At the end of the day, the sales tax, I believe, was instituted to pay for education. And I know the hands are, you know, as very often they do, the hands get in the pot and muddies things. So not that I'm advocating for more, paying more to the Board of Education or to the county government, but at the end of the day, it's holistic. You have to look at the big picture. So I would just remind folks of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? May I have a motion, please?
It's your motion. It's your motion.
Oh, it is my motion. Okay, I want to close the public hearing and move for an approval.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cosby? Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, you threw a curveball in there. I didn't know it was my motion. Can you please read 6253?
An ordinance approving the application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with PR2/GAR Tremley Property 3 Urban Renewal LLC.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the hearing for ordinance 6253 be closed. The ordinance adopted. I request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Cosby?
No.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6254?
An ordinance amending the Infinium redevelopment project redevelopment plan to the planning board for review and comment pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 48:12A at sequence.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the hearing be closed and ordinance 6254 be adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6255?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23, 1999, and approved November 24, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. 2-12, Department of Police, delete Section 2-12.1, created Department of Police, add Section 2.12.1, created Department of Police.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the hearing for ordinance 6255 be closed, the ordinance adopted, and I request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. The consent agenda. All items listed with asterisks are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so request, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Does anybody wish to remove any items? In that case, can I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move the consent agenda items 1 and 3 through number 3. Request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Crosby? Yes. Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. At this time, we're going to move for reports and comments from the members of the governing body. Councilman Javik, can we start with you, sir?
Certainly. Well, first, I'd like to say thank you to Alexis, Zach, our CFO, Councilman Brown, members of the Finance Committee for their dedication and perseverance in keeping our city fiscally sound. Now, I'd like to read our budget review and finance statement for July 17, 2018. Approval is requested for the following finance actions. Number one, the payment of bills totaling $1,801,039.31. Bills have been signed by the mayor, council president, and finance chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are in file in the clerk's office. Number two, we are in receipt of the investments made by the city treasurer for the month of June at the rate of 1%. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Crosby? No. Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
Continuing, my ward report tonight consists of where we are and where we're going. This week, we will be having a pre-construction Thursday morning meeting to finalize the street pavings on Knopf Street, Loretta Street, and Amon Terrace. Our objective is to get this paving done before the end of the summer. Our city trees are being taken care of as fast as possible. We are doing trimming, removing dead trees, and stump removal. We even have people from the Shade Tree Commission right now out there helping with the trimming, and I would like to thank them for their extra help. Safety has been safety has been and continues to be a primary concern in our city. In the second ward, we are adding more street lighting where needed. In the second ward, we are adding more, we're working actually with the traffic department to reduce speeding and accidents on the streets and handling the problems associated with commuter versus residential parking in our neighborhoods. Sanitation and cleanliness are also issues associated with our Wood Ave corridor. This is why we are working on the purchase of a sidewalk sweeper to complement our downtown streetscape. In addition, you may have noticed grass coming through the tree grates. We're going to put a fiber landscape down there to remove the growth after it's pulled out. In this way, they're not going to come back in the future. As far as development, we have some issues with both our projects happening in the second ward. Where before I thought we would see the JTG scaffolding project implemented already, that has significantly changed, and now I believe that United Lacquer is going to be torn down and started first. All movement in regards to development is good for our city. Feel free to reach out to me with any other issues you feel I can help resolve. I can be reached at 908-494-4608 or email me at bjavic@linden-newjersey.org. Council President, end of report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Brown?
Okay. I have a long list of things to go over tonight, but tonight, I'm not going to go over them tonight because I actually have a personal issue that I'm going to have to cut out of the meeting. So the only report that I do want to talk about is that we had a STEM program that was over at across the street at the Promenade, thanks to the mayor and other members of the public, where we had the Liberty Science Center come in. What we found and what we want to do is bring them back in during September to remember. So with the help of the Mayor's Youth Commission and Sid, we're hoping that during September to remember that we can bring them back in because we saw how great they were with the kids and bring some more activities for the kids as far as games, things of this nature. I have a whole host of other things that I would like to talk about, but I'm going to reserve those comments till next council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Cosby?
What is that?
It's a telephone.
Oh,
She's not going to.
just felt like it was weird. Okay. I have a short report on purpose. So, from the Construction Code Committee, I don't have my glasses, so I'm just gonna read the bottom. Permit fees, DCA fees, certificate fees, total, a grand total of $53,054 for June 1st until June 29th, and that's from the Construction Code Committee. Our meeting is actually on Thursday, so I don't have a new report, but we're actually looking to do some things in the Fifth Ward, actually. There's a building that we all know about by the laundromat in the 1800 block. You can see through the building, and so that building has been put on, there's been summonses issued because it's a safety hazard. It looks like it's gonna fall down any day now, so we're looking to condemn that, actually. So that's our committee's gonna take that up, and we're gonna follow up tomorrow, Thursday at the meeting, and I'll give everybody an update at next month's meeting. From the Housing Authority, as the liaison, they had their annual roundtables last month, so the residents were able to come and they talk to the commissioners so that they can, provide any feedback to the commissioners and let them know what their concerns are for the building. So that's an update from the Housing Authority. I want you guys to save the date of August 19th. That is the annual Fifth Ward Community Cookout, and we're gonna do it at Fifth Ward Park this year. August 19th, that's a Sunday, so we usually do it on the third Sunday. So save the date, August 19th, we're gonna be out in the Fifth Ward Park for the annual Community Cookout. I do want to actually announce with disappointment that the Wellness Wednesday series has been discontinued for lack of participation. So the nurses, and I did let the Board of Health know, the nurses did an awesome job. They were well prepared with all of their presentations. Unfortunately, I guess it's people have things that they're doing and the awarenesses that we focused on, which were very important. People weren't, going to come out to them. So we're going to bring our programs to you, wherever you are. I'm just going to track the calendar and see who's where and what's important, and then we'll just show up and give you information that way. So I know there's a lot of different conflicts, but either way, Nancy, just again, express my thanks to the nurses. They did an awesome job, and I appreciate their efforts. But, there was only one council person that actually came, and that was Councilwoman Ormond. She came to the autism awareness, and that was in her ward, so I wanted to thank her for that. And I did thank her when she was here, but she's not here tonight, so she'll see this later. I have something else.
The resolution of the hair, you should do, you should do that when it comes up. Just we'll put it aside so you can speak on it,
Oh, okay.
not to confuse the.
Okay, we're not going to confuse people.
Right.
Other than that, I have a website, it's rashana.com, or you can contact me at 908-718-7933 if you have any concerns. And, I just also wanted to mention that the fishing club is doing awesome this year. So our kids are fishing, and I'm looking at Sandy. Sandy and her husband do an awesome job. Also, Jay Stabilski does an awesome job, and we're looking forward to next year when we want to be in the budget next year so that we can have stuff for the kids and we don't have to, come out of pocket and things like that. But this is our third year, and I have to say that the kids are catching, they're learning, and we're doing the anti-drug prevention, and it's an awesome thing. So I'm just grateful to have the volunteers and that the city is owning the program this year. So I'm looking forward to our end of the season activities, and if anybody's interested, we're gonna start our scheduling early this year so we can start our program in the fall so that the kids can fish in the fall, and then we can move into the summer and have a full season. I think that's all I have. Wait, give me 2 seconds to think about it.
No, you're done.
I think
Thank you.
that's it. All right.
Councilman Roman?
Thank you, Council
Is that
President.
it?
Good evening,
Touch on
Linden.
my committees, though. Sorry, John.
It's all right. Just to start off, Six Waters, recycling wasn't picked up today due to unforeseen circumstances with a truck, and the rain came in. Please leave it out. They're coming first thing in the morning. As for, start with committee meetings, landfill, not too much change. We're still negotiating with Fiabilia regarding the sale of a property over there. And also the LEDC director got me in touch with a gentleman who does solar panels. So we're hoping to engage in good conversation with the committee and see if we can get that project re-rolling. Other than that, I'm not going to bore you guys with the pull leachate pumps and the methane gas of the landfill down there. Public Properties Director Dan just took over, as we discussed last meeting. We had a quick meeting, go over his plans of the future. He's learning as fast as he can, and he's going to continue to give the committee an update going forward. We discussed a couple things. Of course, I went after him on the train station pretty much immediately. I'm happy to report I just heard that there's going to be a couple small changes down at the train station that's hopefully going to improve maintenance going down there. So going forward, things are going to get better at the train station, and by next year, it's my opinion that, and I'll be there to make sure of it, it's going to be a totally different place beginning in the spring. So, trees, slowly but surely. We have a lot of trees, a lot of parks, and I know the guys are out there working every day. PSC&G took out a very large tree on West Linden Avenue today. There's at least 3 others on Linden Avenue, and I can think of almost a dozen more throughout the ward that need to go. So be patient, they're on the list. And if you think there's a tree that's not on the list, give me a call and I'll make sure it's on there, if it's obviously dead. Tonight we passed the resolution to repave East Morris Avenue, Diane's Street, down from Woodlawn to Wood Avenue, all the way to the Meridia Building. Also, West Stimpson's going to get paved, as well as portions of Clinton Avenue, where it's real bad, right near Linden Avenue. Keep in mind, contingent with Walmart opening up, Linden Avenue, as well as 6 other intersections have to get repaved, widened, and restriped. So even though we did Wood Avenue, or the county did Wood Avenue, and you see the side streets not looking as good as Wood Avenue does, within the next year, or hopefully actually within the next 6 months, Walmart has to redo those streets, so it's good for us. Meridia Lifestyles 2 continues to go up. As you may know, they're building 3 floors down and 3 floors underground parking, so be patient. Be patient with the intersection, especially Linden and Wood Avenue. We're constantly shifting and moving things around to make it safer and better for traffic and most importantly, the pedestrians. Once school starts up, we're going to have several crossing guards out there to make sure the kids are safe. Yesterday, I attended the Linden Fire Department's last alarm memorial. The LFD dedicated this absolutely beautiful memorial to actually I had no idea this, there's 8 men that lost their lives as members of the Linden Fire Department over the 102-year history. And Chief, is he here? He's not here, he left?
Yes, he's here.
They did, your boys did a great job. It was very touching, and it was an awesome sight to see. As for that, that's about it. If you need anything, sidewalks, problems with trash, trees, I don't care how small the problems are, this is why you guys hired me. I'll be right out there. So my cell phone number is 908-494-5784. Council President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Strano?
Yes, Council President, I have the confidential and personnel report for July meeting. There's 7 items here. First is in the police department. Item A is permission to advertise for a full-time clerk 1. Item B is the hiring of 6 full-time public safety telecommunicator trainees from the attached list. C is amending the hiring date for police recruits from July 2nd, 2018 to July 6th of 2018. D is the promotion of Charles Crane to a senior computer service technician effective July 17th, 2018 at no increase in pay. Item E is accepting the resignation in good standing of Michael Martins, police recruit effective July 11th of 2018. Now, item number 2, A is in the Department of Community Services, the hiring of Anthony Chesney, Trenton Boyer, Stephen Quinterly, Eric Doss, Louis Florian, Michael Williams as laborer 1, tier 2, at the hourly rate of $15 per hour effective August 1st, 2018, pending the successful completion of a pre-employment requirements. Item B is rescinding the hiring of Andrew Bison effective July 2nd, 2018. He's no longer interested in the position. C is the approval of the seasonal list. The list is on file in the city clerk's office. 3, in the Public Property Recreational Services, the hiring of Roberto Alman and Douglas Scott as laborer 1, Tier 2, at the hourly rate of $15 an hour, effective August 1st, 2018, pending successful completion of the pre-employment requirements. B is the approval of the seasonal list. The list is on file in the city clerk's office. Item 4, in the Treasury Department, the hiring of Lucy Miranda, part-time clerk 1, at the hourly rate of $18.98, effective August 1st, 2018, pending the successful completion of pre-employment requirements. Item 5, in the Board of Health, amending the hiring date of Justin Panzarella from July 2nd, 2018 to July 9th of 2018. 6, in the Personnel Department, item A is the FMLA/NJFLA employee number 090569 from 6/1/18 to 5/30/19. Employee number 006134 from 7/1/18 to 6/30/19. Employee number 000958 from 7/1/18 to 6/30/19. Employee 909223 from 7/2/18 to 8/15/18. Employee number 909498 from 7/2/18 to 8/15/18. Item number 7, in the Fire Department, the approval to send the fire candidates to medical and psychological examinations to obtain 8 successful fire candidates. I need a motion.
I have a question, a comment, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, motion, yeah. Excuse me. Any questions?
I have a comment.
Questions?
I have a question. So my question is for, number 1, I'm going to say the same thing that I said last month, that we're hiring people, or we're posting these positions, yet the policy was changed, and I was told that it's too much work to publicize these positions, and they're going to keep people's applications on file. So I want you to go to the applications on file, and I need you guys to hire somebody so that they can fill the vacancies, or change the policy back to what it used to be, where everybody gets the notice and it's published for everybody. Oh, but the question was, how come we're not filling them with the applications that are on file? That was
Well,
the
your
question.
questions are duly noted.
That was the question.
That was your answer.
Is Alan here? Is anybody here? Mr. Bodak, can you answer that? How come we're not using the applications from the previous postings less than 6 months ago to fill these positions?
There was one instance where we had advertised for a position in a particular department, and that department also had then a second vacancy occurred for the same title. The committee allowed at that time, and only that time, for the appointment from the existing list. Otherwise, the committee has been following the policy and posting each of the positions that have come up.
But the policy was actually changed in writing in 2000, whatever. Alan's not here, but see, that's my concern. We changed it at one point to appease someone, but now we're supposedly following the policy that used to exist. So I have concerns about that. We're not giving everybody a fair shake at these jobs. That's my only concern, and that's it for me.
Councilman Estrada, you asked for a motion?
Yes, Council President, I ask for approval, request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Cosby?
I'm going to abstain.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Okay, continuing on, I was appointed as the, 2 council meetings ago, as the an alternate member of the Linden Roselle Sewage Authority, and as such, have taken on responsibility to be the liaison from the city council. I attended the last meeting, which was the June meeting. There weren't any items outside of normal business items to report from that meeting. Nothing substantial that should have been brought to this meeting for publication or advertisement. Regarding the quiet zone, the railroad crossing on Lower Road, the saga still continues. All the construction has been completed. We're waiting for the New Jersey Department of Transportation Division for Railroads to do their final inspection and approval so we can finally have the quiet zone activated and complied with. And I have to commend our engineering department and our fire chief as well for all the hard work that they put into the design and construction and their oversight. The project, along with the paving, the striping, the signage, really looks great. And in closing, I want to wish somebody that I worked with for many years here in the city, George Verchik, our city engineer. His last day will be at the end of this month. And I want to wish George Verchik best wishes on his retirement after a long and successful career here in Linden, as this is the last council meeting that he will be presiding as the city engineer. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Yemekaitis?
Thank you, Council President. From the Mayor's Youth Commission. The Mayor's Youth Commission will once again be sponsoring the annual Backpack to School on Monday, August 20th from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Raymond Bauer Promenade. Last year, 800 backpacks were given away to students in Linden from grades K to 12. This year's goal is to reach 1,000 backpacks to give away to our Linden students. The Mayor's Youth Commission is working on this project in collaboration with many organizations to eliminate duplicated efforts. These organizations include the following: Communities in Cooperation Incorporated, the Linden Board of Education, the Linden Recreation Department, Mayor Derek Armstead and the City Council, the police and fire departments, and many of our community's faith-based organizations. Donations of backpacks and school supplies are being accepted. Drop-off locations are at the Mayor's office, which is located on the 3rd floor of City Hall, and the JTG Center located on Helen Street. Monetary donations will be accepted. Checks can be made out to the Mayor's Youth Commission and dropped off at the Mayor's office or mailed to the Mayor's Youth Commission, 301 Northwood Avenue, Linden. The backpack giveaway is for Linden residents only. Pre-registration is required at www.cic-nj.org/events. For more information, contact 908-290-3107 or email lindennjbackpack@gmail.com. This information will also be available on the city website or on the Linden Mayor's Youth Commission Facebook page. There you will also be able to access a list of supplies needed, since it is for grades K to 12, so they're looking to not only get a bunch of crayons and things for younger students, but we need different items that are used for high school and middle school students as well. So please, if you're interested, please access that. You'll see these flyers around town for the Mayor's Youth Commission Backpack to School for you. So please, we ask if you could support it. It's a great benefit for our students to help them kick off the new school year. The Mayor's Youth Commission also held their project graduation bash last month. The graduates had a great time at the Edison Racquet Club. They had endless food, great activities including swimming, sports activities. There was a DJ, they had laser tag, a photo booth, and many other activities, and a good time was had by all. I want to thank all who helped out financially to make this possible. I would be remiss if I did not say a special shout out to Sandy Vasquez and Rebecca Totoli, Mike Jackson, and all the volunteers who helped to make the event such a success. They decorated the venue, they really put effort into it. Some of the students don't have graduation parties with their family, so this year was really an extra special touch. When you walked in, they had pictures of every graduate that was participating in the bash, which made every kid feel really special. And I just want to say, these volunteers go above and beyond. So it's really nice to see, and I want to say thank you to you. Okay, the 8th Ward report. The yellow curbs and crosswalks are starting to be painted by the Public Property Department and their summer youth help. So they should be done before the school year commences. Paving will begin shortly on Pennsylvania Railroad Avenue in the 8th Ward. This is from state aid money, so pretty soon we'll be going out for bid for the other streets, which include South Park Avenue, which is the strip between Route 1 and 9 and Linden Avenue, which is, Public Works can't even keep up with. Every time it rains, we have major potholes there because it's a heavily traveled street, as well as Urbanowitz Avenue. So bids will be going out shortly. We'll have some dates for that soon. As Councilman Roman had mentioned, recycling was not picked up in his ward in some areas. We also had a little bit of an issue in a little section of the 8th Ward, so please leave your cans out. We had breakdowns. The department was fighting with breakdowns of equipment as well as the heavy rains of this afternoon, but please leave out your recycling. They will be sure to get it. Save the date, Saturday, August 11th, at the St. Mark's Dorothy Ford Park. We will have the Blanky Street and 8th Ward Community Day from 12 noon to 9 p.m. The day will include a youth basketball tournament, game trucks, food vendors, and music. We'll have more details very shortly going out to the residents. And before I conclude, I just want to wish my congratulations to Councilman Brown and his wife Vanessa on the birth of their new son, Ethan Joseph Brown. God bless Councilman Brown. And that concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Medina?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple notes, to have a small, short report. Do not have a library report this month, but again, I encourage everyone just stop by the library, stop by the circulation desk, and just see what's happening in the library. You could get a lot of information from the circulation desk on all the events and upcoming programs that they're offering at the library. Just wanted to update everyone, especially the 9th Ward residents, some safety improvements in the 9th Ward that I talked about in the last month's report. I was surprised to see that the county installed or painted the shoulder lines on Raritan Road between Orchard all the way down to Wood Avenue. I was actually super excited, and believe it or not, it's already making a big, big difference. People are staying in their lane, allowing folks to make a right into their driveways. It's really, really cleaned up that section a lot. Again, these roads are just getting more and more congested. Population is going up, and we're trying to do the best we can to curb some of these traffic issues around our town. Also, I've received complaints on the stop sticks or delineators. They're right in front of the Dunkin' Donuts on Wood Avenue, on the road. Well, it's actually right in between, so it's between Linden and Roselle. Reached out to the county. I met with Director Joseph Graziano on Saturday. Those delineators have been hit by cars and not been replaced, I guess, in a couple years and whatnot. So they're going to replace the delineators and also add the 3 missing ones that is heading towards Rosewood Terrace. The problem is people are coming off Raritan Road right on that yield and trying to make a left right into the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, because there are 3 I call them stop sticks, but they're called delineators. They're missing a few delineators, so it has a nice wide opening, so people are just trying to make that quick left there versus going straight, crossing Wood Avenue, making a right. I just don't, sometimes I just don't get it. And also there's I call it an unnamed road. People like to go to Lumwa or the liquor store or the UPS store there, and they're making this illegal left, again, causing people to brake hard and some near misses with accidents. So we're definitely trying to improve it. Like I said, I met with them on Saturday, and hopefully this week that should be improved, and those delineators will be replaced and installed. Receiving a ton of complaints. I've been receiving this complaint for a while now. I sent it over to the traffic committee, which I'm part of, and also to the traffic bureau. The speeding and the wrong way drivers on Berlant and Ferber. If you folks are not familiar with that area, that's the dead end of Northwood Avenue in Amsterdam, by Cranford and Roselle. It's a nice little shortcut to get to the midsection of Raritan Road, and people just fly right through, and it's a nice one-way, wide road. So there's been tons of accidents, single vehicle accidents, because they've just been crashing into parked cars. And it's unfortunate, because some folks have only liabilities on their vehicles, and when it's a total loss, it's a total loss. So we're thinking of, speed humps, adding more signage, signage on the road itself, no right turns. So we're trying to be very creative to curb the issue. We just can't fix stupid, unfortunately. People just are going to behave the way they want to behave. So we're doing the best we can, and the Traffic Bureau has it on their list, and we're going to do a study, and hopefully we'll have a good solution for that area down there. With that being said, lastly, I did receive an email We do have a cutoff. I don't think anyone mentioned it up here for tree planting requests. So if anyone would like a tree in front of their home, shoot me an email or call me, and we can add you to the list. The cutoff is July 25th. And again, if you do want a tree in front of your home, please give us a call, and we can add you to the fall planting list. I can be reached at 908-986-6100, or I can be emailed at amedina@linden-nj.org. You can text me, email me, which way you like to reach out to me. That concludes my report. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Hickey?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Council President. I'm going to start off with a few committee reports from the clerk's office. The following licenses, permits, and transcripts issued in the city clerk's office during the month of June 2018 and fees received have been turned over to the municipal treasurer of the city of Linden. 91 birth, death, and marriage transcripts, 31 marriage civil union licenses, 11 miscellaneous revenue, 2 bingo raffles, 103 vital statistics, and a total city revenue of $3,099.65 and a state revenue of $775 with a total amount of transactions of 238. The city's clerk's licensing division is submitting this monthly report for the month of May 2018. The office issued 487 dog licenses and 37 miscellaneous licenses and collected $9,413. Again, that was for the month of May. For the month of June, the office issued 94 dog licenses and 86 miscellaneous licenses and collected a total amount of $4,325. On to our fire department. My apologies, I know I'm to the chief and the fire department as chairwoman. Unfortunately, I had to go to work the other day, and I know I missed a very, very beautiful ceremony. I truly tried to make everything. A fellow employee had an emergency with her family, so I was unable to attend. From the ambulance reimbursement systems for the Linden Fire Department and ambulance billing, the amount of $67,422.30 for June 2018 has been added to the total deposits, for the totaling for 2018 to be $439,204.65. The Fire Prevention Bureau collected the following monies during the month of June. Total monies collected were $9,398.95. On to my little report. By the time I get to me, a lot has been said and done already as chairwoman of DPW and many other boards, engineering, and so forth. So I know everybody gets to listen to them already, so I'm not going to repeat all of them. Everyone knows they can reach me at any time through my phone, email, or social media. I do have from Jeff Tandle, who is in charge of Shade Tree Commission. He sent out an email that if you would like a tree planted in the fall, we need to have you send an email to your council person, and the requests are due in by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, July 25th. The Shade Tree Commission and a few of their members have been out working hard and pruning trees, and certainly I have found it very interesting with the knowledge that Jeff Tandle has with the trees throughout the city, and I'm learning so much. Engineering, we are working on, as you can see, funds were passed last month and this month for certain wards. We're on evens this year because it's an even year to be paved. Hopefully next month we'll pass the funding for the 10th ward. My residents too are anxiously waiting, but you know, we have to be fair to everyone. But in the 10th ward, we will be having Princeton Road paved, Amherst, Verona from Amherst to Elmwood, Edgewood Road from Myrtle to Amherst, and also Forest Drive from the Clark border to Stiles Street. I want to say thank you to George Verchik, who is retiring as of August 1st. His years of service are greatly appreciated. His knowledge throughout the city and regarding our engineering and infrastructure has been really helpful to me through the years as I've been on council, and you're surely going to be missed. However, I do wish you a very happy retirement with wonderful things happening in your life. And I'm ready. We have Joe Kroback as a backup right now, who's really, truly amazing too, and has worked under George for a long time. So I can assure everyone that things will be moving smoothly. On July 20th through the 28th, the Linden Cultural Committee will be having their summer play hosted in the Linden High School Susan B. Hudak Auditorium. I have to express that over the years, learning through the Cultural Committee, many people can't afford to attend a Broadway show. It's very, very expensive for 2-4 people to go have lunch or dinner. The Cultural Committee puts on an amazing performance, and I have to say, extremely comparable to a Broadway show. Their talents amongst the city and many members from the county are amazing, and if anybody has a night available, try to attend. Bring your children if you can. They will truly love it. This year's play is Legally Blonde, so hopefully you can attend. On August 7th is National Night Out, which is always at the Promenade, which is always hosted by our police department. An amazing event. Everyone always attends. There's food, there's prizes. The policemen are there, all of our force and fire, everybody's there. All our first responders to teach the kids and to meet and greet with them. And it's really important in today's society, I think, for the children to get to know all of our first responders in our city. They mean a lot to me, and I know they mean a lot to others. Lastly, Winfield Carnival is coming up soon. It is always a problem in the 10th Ward. Over the years, what I have done is about 3 or 4 of the blocks I've worked with, I'll be working with Lieutenant Gunther in our traffic department. We always make sure, what I do now is one side of the street parking, just for the safety of all the residents, of the children, of the walkers that go through the street. Many residents aren't very happy with the Winfield Carnival when it happens. It's only 3 days this year, and I just want to let my residents know I appreciate their patience, and I go there and check on everything every night. The garbage has been minimal. The Winfield Committee and Fire Department have been wonderful with helping to make sure everything runs smoothly. So I just want to assure everybody, and still, I hope you can get out and just stop by and support the Winfield Fire Department as well. And with that being said, I just want to wish everybody a nice rest of their summer till next month. And thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mayor?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Don't have too much to report on this evening, with the exception of next Monday, the 23rd through the 27th, Linden will be hosting its first Youth Police Academy. The times will be from 8 o'clock to 3 p.m. It's the first, and we're looking for a nice turnout, and hopefully the kids will get it's a pre-registration required, and hopefully the children will get a better understanding of what it is that our law enforcement does here in town and throughout the county. Also, I'd like to mention, as mentioned earlier, that August 7th will be National Night Out, begin at 5 p.m. It will be hosted at the Promenade, and it will also be, Wood Avenue will also be closed from East Blanky Street to Knopf Street. So, and again, not much to report on this evening. Most of the stuff that I was going to report on had been mentioned earlier, but I would like to extend my well wishes to George Verchek as he retires. George has worked for the city over 40 years. I've had the benefit of working with George for the last 25 years, and I think it's been a tremendous advantage having guys like George. We've had a number of engineers who really understood our city very well, and George particularly worked under John Zemian, and he could tell you where almost every storm sewer, every mechanical, every pipe that we had in this town, all the underground wiring, George was just very familiar with the infrastructure of our city. And that works to our advantage as a governing body when you have a person as knowledgeable as George is. So again, I wish him well. I know he's going to enjoy his retirement. He's still a fairly young guy. So George, good luck, and thank you for all you've given to our city. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I need a motion to remove the resolution 2018-288 from consideration.
Yes, Council President, I make the motion for the removal and ask for request a second for approval.
Second?
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Cosby?
Abstain.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Public comments will be permitted for those specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions which have been prepared by the city clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Does anybody wish to remove a resolution from 286 through 298? Yes, sir. 289. That's it. That's it. Ms. Cosby? 294. Mr. Principado? No, not remove them, is, yes. 286. Anybody else? Mrs. Minsky? 286. Anybody else? Okay. Can I have a motion for resolutions 286 through 298, including 282, for the exceptions of 288 that's been removed already, 289, 286, and 294?
Yes, Council President, I make a motion for the approval of those resolutions and request a second.
Second?
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
I abstain on Resolution 296 and yes on the rest.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. I would like a motion to remove 282 from the table.
Yeah.
No.
Can I have a motion to remove 282, please?
Yes, Council President, I make a motion to remove Resolution 2018-282, request a second.
Second?
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Well, at the same time, let's have a motion to accept 282.
Yes, Council President, I make a motion for the approval of Resolution 2018-282, request a second.
Second?
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Halogen, right? Mr. Halogen, can you please come up? This for Resolution 289?
Yes. 289, it refers to lien put on property or premises for work done by Department of Public Works and public property. What type of work and why would the city need to put liens on property? Can somebody explain this?
Sure.
Mr.
The city,
Sorry, Mr. Bodek.
okay. The city goes out and does work sometimes because of issues like high grass, debris removal, et cetera, and it should be performed by the property owner, and when it's not, and it's an eyesore to the neighborhood, the city does it and then looks to be compensated by placing a lien on the property.
Okay, I think that answers my questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion for 289, please?
Yes, Council President, I make a motion for 2018-289. I request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yamakitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Councilwoman Cosby, 294.
294, I actually had a, because there was no written communication that was sent to the clerk, it was sent to me. I wanted to know if I could read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this is a message sent from a professional cosmetologist, Avian Regan of Mainstream Beauty.
Why don't you explain what the resolution is first so people understand?
Okay. So the resolution is, recently, June 7th, there was two resolutions. That one was assembly resolution. This whole process started in April, but really it started in 2015, where certain members of the assembly, the state assembly, wanted to create educational exemptions for people who do certain hairstyling services, braiding, and this is about braiding. And having my license since 1994 as a professional cosmetologist, I disagree. Councilman Javik also is a professional cosmetologist, and he also disagrees. Insofar as there is no reason why you would allow someone to work on the general public without going to school and getting the basic education. So we want, hopefully, to pass this and send this to the governor as a statement that this should be vetoed and this should be sent back to the State Board of Cosmetology so they can consider adjusting any educational requirements. However, it's important that they have just the basics. Like, if you go into a salon and you don't see a tall jar with blue water that's clear of fuzziness and particles, then you should probably turn around and leave, because that means they're not practicing the basic sanitation. And so that's part of the thing. You go into a braid salon, not to take anything away from anybody, but you can't learn professionalism, you can't learn state rules, you can't learn salesmanship, you can't learn all of that through tradition, which is what the law is saying. Just because I learned it as a little girl, I can go and I can charge you to do your hair in an unhealthy, hazardous manner. So that's what it's all about. And I have some people who are supporting this, and one lady sent me an email. Actually, there's a change.org petition as well out here so that we can get people, consumers, it's mostly about the consumers, really, you know, because God forbid you should get lice or you should get some other head condition just because you went to a salon for cheap, to be honest, and they're using the same comb on everybody. So that's what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Mrs. Regan sent this to me because she wasn't able to stay at the meeting and she wanted to just have it. She's in agreement with the resolution and she's hopeful that the resolution will pass. And then she's actually going to ask her city council members in her city to actually do the same thing and send it to the governor. Exempting certain persons from licensure as a hairstylist or cosmetologist. Obtaining licensure ensures that one is knowledgeable about requirements of cosmetology, including decontamination and infection control. Passing this bill would cause harm to the consumer because their safety would be at risk. Licensure would ensure that one has fulfilled those requirements and more. Interpersonal relationships, proper client consultation, scalp assessment, and more. None of these are found in the new burdensome, none of these are burdensome based on what the Senator Shirley Turner had stated is the reason why they put this forth, that it's burdensome for people, and I disagree. So I wanted to just say that. But again, we have to look out for ourselves as consumers, and so this is a sister to another ordinance that we have on for introduction tonight, also looking out for our consumers here in Linden who patronize places of personal service. So that's on for introduction tonight as well, courtesy of Councilman Javik. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Can I have a motion, please?
Yes, Council President, I make a motion for the approval of 2018-294 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yamakitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Presipato, can you please come up for 286?
I think this is a great idea.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Having been a
Oh, more?
former city employee,
I thought you got to the point.
well, no, I think it's a great idea, having been a former city employee and being in and out of city buildings and rooms in certain city buildings where lights are left on for quite a long time. And I don't know what the costs are, or what the bills are for electric, but I'm sure it's exorbitant. And I just want to say that it's a good idea, and that it doesn't cost us anything is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Zeminski?
Hello again. Yeah, didn't we do something like this a couple of years ago? And what's the reason for putting, if so, what's the reason for putting this resolution? Is it changing the vendor? And the last point I'd like to make, it might make sense to, obviously, you have to look at this by itself, but at the end of the day, kind of think about this again holistically. I know there's been some initiatives and some resolutions regarding solar panels, looking what to do with the old dump site. I think this is a nice tie-in, so to see maybe what the city can leverage in terms of cost savings there.
Thank you, Mrs. Zeminski. Mr. Burek, you have any comments on this?
Yes. We have done this oftentimes. There are companies out there that come in and look at our usage in terms of our tariffs and stuff that we're paying, and that we're paying the correct rates for the electric that we are using. They come in, their hope is that they will find a mistake and then share in cost savings that result. So that's how they get paid. But we've done it several times over the years with different companies.
Can I have a motion, please?
Yes, Council President, I make a motion for 2018-286 and request a second.
Second?
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. At this point, I'm going to have the clerk, Mr. Burek, read a resolution that was turned in late by Mr. Antonelli. So, Mr. Burek, can you please read, what number would that be?
2018-299. Resolution for approval to submit a grant application at no cost to the city to conduct design, engineering, and logistical studies to establish a roll-on, roll-off marine and connecting rail freight service. Whereas the city of Linden, due to its location, is inundated with traffic congestion from trucks moving freight in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area. And whereas grant monies are available to conduct design, engineering, and logistical studies to establish a roll-on, roll-off marine and connecting rail freight service, which will reduce the amount of traffic congestion caused by trucks. And whereas the grant application will be submitted at no cost to the city, now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Linden, formally gives permission to New Jersey Harborside Transport LLC to submit a grant for the above stated project, and be it further resolved that the mayor and council, the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized to sign the grant agreement on behalf of the City of Linden, and that their signatures constitutes acceptance of the terms and conditions of the grant agreement and approve the execution of the grant agreement.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Council President, make a motion for approval of Resolution 2018-299 and request a second.
Second?
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Alvarez?
Yes. At this time, we're moving with ordinances on first readings. I will have the deputy clerk read it on its entirely. Can you please start with 62-56?
An ordinance to adopt the amended and restated redevelopment plan entitled Linden Airport Development Area pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1 at sequence.
Anybody wish to make a comment? There will be no questions, just comments. Mr. Principato? You want to make a comment? 56.
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. Is this the property that
No
we...
questions, sir.
Oh,
Just make
okay.
your comments.
Okay. This project was sold as a commercial piece of property at a commercial rate. It's being changed, from what I've been told, it's been rezoned to residential. The rate of the sale didn't change. So, in essence, from what I'm hearing, 27 units at the going rate anywhere between 35 and 40,000 per unit, we're losing approximately $645,000. The city's losing on just the sale. Then, this supposedly is going to be a pilot program, from what I'm hearing also. We're going to be losing taxes. So what happened now is
Just let him put his name on.
the city created a value of this property by changing the zoning of $645,000 more. So they made the property worth $645,000 more. In essence, losing $645,000. Because anywhere else, that property, if that property is anywhere else as a residential, that's how much they're gonna get. So my concern is that there are a lot of developers that would have paid that $645,000 had they known it was going to be sold as a residential property or changed to a residential property. As council people, you can't in good faith vote for this to go through without having someone come in and do an independent appraisal of that property. If you do that, you're breaching your oath, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. You're breaching your oath as council people to have the best interests of the taxpayer in mind. Okay? So, I'm almost pleading with you to not let this go through the way it is. The tax break for the pilot program is going to cost the taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars a year for how many years? A minimum of 10 years, I believe. So that's another that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that we're going to lose. So please think about this very carefully, because there are a lot of people that are looking at this resolution or this ordinance, and they're saying that it just doesn't smell right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? At this time, I would like a motion to introduce 6256.
It's 6256, and ask for a second.
Second.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cosby?
No.
Roman?
Before I vote, I have a comment here. This property is, as Mr. Principato said, next to, over near the airport. You have 27 units. We're grossly selling it for a lot cheaper, and it's because it's being rezoned. It could be worth a lot more, but that's not my problem. My gripe here is that it's gonna have a pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes. So you're gonna know the developer, whoever he is, we all know who he is going to be able to know what he's going to pay over the 20-year pilot or whatnot. So his first year, he's only gonna pay actually, almost the first 10 years, he's only paying between 40, 45, and $50,000. I don't know about you, my mom and dad pay about $9.95 for their house alone. This developer gets 27 units for about $40,000 the first year, first couple of years. Comes out to about $1,400 per unit. It's a pretty sweet deal. And then you gripe in the fact that payment in lieu of taxes, pilot programs, they don't go into the Board of Education. 5% goes to the county by state law, the rest goes to the city, directly to us. The Board of Education doesn't get any of that. So as soon as you put 3 kids, if it costs $16,000 a year to educate a child, as soon as you put 3 children in that building, we're at a loss. Or at least the board is at a loss. You know, school too is gonna have to add classrooms, add teachers. I mean, are they thinking about this at all? I vote no.
Council President, I'd like to make a comment since
No,
it's open
sir.
for comment.
No, sir.
Strano?
Yeah, I'd like to make some comments about this ordinance because I guess I've been a councilman for 15 of the last 20-some-odd years. And going back to the amount of time that went by where this property produced a big fat zero. I love to hear the Johnny-come-latelys come in here and tell us how we don't know what we're doing and that we're wrong. And we're finally putting this property, which is costing us money, has been costing us money for those last 20-some-odd years because we have to maintain it. It's an eyesore. It's always, it has to be clean because of the, it is our property. It does not belong to the mall proprietors or the property maintenance people there. It's our responsibility. As a matter of fact, just recently, a contractor doing paving work in the parking lot decided that that was available to them to stockpile their materials. You know, and I see this as a way to get a piece of property that was not attractive to anyone. Nobody else came to the forefront to bid on this property. So with that being said, I say we're moving in the right direction, and I'm voting yes.
Yemakaitis?
I would like to also state, I agree with Councilman Strano. This property has been vacant since the development of that airport. We have been losing money on this year after year. Therefore, I think this is time to move this forward. I am voting yes.
Medina?
You know, I'll make a quick comment. You know, again, I personally don't like to see empty plot of land around Linden. I like to see properties developed and bring in tax revenue. This ordinance is for introduction, so a lot of things can change between now and next month. So I would like to see how this moves forward and see what comes to the table next month. So I vote yes. Thank you.
Hickey?
Well, you know, I have a comment, and thank you, Mr. Principato, for coming up here. Since the day this has been on the agenda with the purchase of the property for $300,000, I have talked about it, and it has been an issue and a very, very sweet deal. In fact, as soon as the request for qualifications was closed, that same day we had a caucus meeting, and I had a redeveloper who offered $400,000 for the property. The thing you need to know is that this property was zoned for a banquet hall. And yes, we all want to see our property developed, but it can't keep being given away. It's constant, and I don't know if it's somebody's friend, but I have to tell you, as a councilwoman, every single redevelopment deal that goes up on this agenda every single month makes me almost sick to come to the meetings because I have to make a decision, and I don't know who to believe and who not to believe. So now this property, it's trickery because it's being rezoned. It's being rezoned for 2 apartment buildings with 27 units each. Last night, when I brought this all up again, I was told, well, you vote on pilot programs before. Yes. When we initially started pilot programs and are supposed to be developing a beautiful transit village, yes, I'm voting yes for those. We needed to bring things into our city. When we have big industry that needs a pilot program, I'm for that too. But it's getting to the point, when do we stop giving everything away? You know, $300,000 for a piece of property that's going to be 27 units and has, you know, sneakingly been rezoned is just not right. And I also was told last night when I made this comment by another councilman who, you know, was making fun of people saying, Johnny come lately, and when I made my remarks regarding this, because we all are entitled to our opinions, he talked across the table to the other council members and said, take it from the source. Yes, please, take it from the source. Because you know what? My sources are very good, and this is just not right for our city. And I voted no also for the East St. George Avenue property as well, because I don't agree with that. Our children in our school systems cost $18,000 to $20,000 apiece. Who is going to take these costs upon us? The taxpayers, all the taxpayers. I'm up to over $11,000 in my home. I can't afford it anymore. You know, I have children in college. Who can afford it anymore? Our employees can't afford to live here. So let's keep giving everything away. I vote no.
Council President, I'd like to make a comment.
No.
I think it's only right.
This is for a vote only.
But everybody else made a comment. I don't understand
Ms.
why.
Hornan, can you please continue?
Mr. Alvarez.
I will abstain on this.
So
Ms. Hornan, can you please read 62-57?
An ordinance to adopt a redevelopment plan entitled Block 437, lots 5.03 and 5.04, Route 1 and 9 and Willow Glade Road, pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1 at sequence.
Does anybody want to make a comment? No questions on this. Mr. Principado, come up.
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. Johnny Come Lately says, hopefully there's no pilot program on this one too.
Anybody else? Ms. Hornan, can you call the roll, please?
I need a motion.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Can I have a motion to introduce?
Make a motion for introduction of ordinance 62 dash, where are we at?
57.
57, ask for a second.
Second.
Javik,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cosby, Roman,
I'm going to be brief and less dramatic this time. Wills Glade Road is in my ward. It's messy, it's trashy, we always have a trash problem there. I would really like to see this redeveloped. At the same time, Councilman Medina brought up a very good point in caucus yesterday about more trucks coming down Linden Ave, getting stuck on one, and there's only 1 and 9 South or Linden Ave they can use right there. But this is on introduction, and I think that we should see where it goes, so I'm going to vote yes.
Strano,
Yes.
Yamikaitis,
Yes.
Medina,
Quick comment, again, just like Councilman Roman mentioned, I am concerned about this one as well, but again, it's for introduction. I would like to see some site plans and what they actually plan on doing with that property. And I vote yes. Thank you.
Hickey,
Agree with Councilman Medina. Vote yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes. Ms. Hornan, can you please read 6258?
An ordinance to adopt a redevelopment plan entitled Route 1 and Style Street, Block 469, lots 33.01, 34, 35.01, and 36.01 pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1 at sequence.
Does anybody want to make any comments? No questions. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion for the introduction of ordinance 62-59, ask for a second.
58.
58, sorry.
Second.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Cosby is still absent. Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
No.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Coonan, can you please read 6259?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 31 zoning of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23, 1999, and approved November 24, 1999, and as amended and supplemented, revised 31-20.25 prohibited uses.
Anybody wants to make a comment? No questions. May I have a motion to introduce, please?
Make a motion for introduction -62-59 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Coonan, can you please read 6260?
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Establishing the Schedule of Titles, Salary Ranges, and Regulations for Maintaining the Classification and Salary Standardization Plan of all employees of the City of Linden, passed August 15, 1995, and approved August 16, 1995, adding Salary Schedule 4 MM6.
Does anybody wish to make a comment? In that case, may I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move ordinance 62-60 for introduction and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Coonan, can you please read 6261?
An ordinance amending the redevelopment plan for the Southwood Avenue redevelopment project and referring same to the planning board for review and comment pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1 at sequence.
Does anybody want to make any comments? May I have a motion, please, to introduce?
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Cosby? No. Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Coonan, can you please read 6262?
An ordinance to create a new chapter entitled Barbershops, Beauty Salons, and Nail Salons.
Does anybody want to make a comment? May I have a motion?
I want to make a comment.
Make a comment.
Oh, I'm very excited about this one. So I want to thank Councilman Javik for doing all the research and getting all the necessary information from the state and putting this one on for introduction. And I'm looking forward to professional services being conducted in our city and looking forward to enforcement and partnering with the state of New Jersey State Board of Cosmetology to make sure that every establishment is licensed and there's either a student or a professional licensed person working. So, thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Anybody else? May I have a motion to introduce, please?
Council President, I move for introduction of ordinance number 6262 and ask for a second.
Second.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Before I like to vote, I'd like to make a comment like everybody else.
Yes,
Everybody
go
else
ahead.
did, thank you.
can.
I'm voting no right now because I don't see where the numbers are as far as where do we have the personnel to enforce this? We have a lot of enforcement issues throughout the city that residents throughout the city come up and you come up to the dais and talk to us about enforcement, this. This is just another layer where I don't see where we have the personnel nor the funds to do this. And until I see a plan, I'm voting no. You know, the research hasn't been provided to the council. I haven't seen any numbers. So right now, I'm voting no.
Cosby?
Well, I will volunteer to do inspections if that's permissible by the law, so that there's no question about inspections, and I am qualified, in my own opinion, having been licensed for so very long, and I'm voting yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. At this, at this time, we're going with public comments. No personal, political, or derogatory comments. It will not exceed 5 minutes. At the 5-minute point, I will cut you off and let you know. So let's start with Mr. Halloran, please.
Yes, Craig Halloran, 120 Donaldson Place. My question is, again, the second time at a council meeting, I had proposed ideas for like resident parking permits on my street. This was quite a while ago. I haven't heard anything about it. I also suggested, I believe the last council meeting, that a ordinance be put forth or introduced, whatever, that when a house is abandoned, such as a house right in my neighborhood, that the owners notify the town, whether that be the mortgage holder or somebody, and I don't hear any comments from the city council or anybody on these ideas. Does it take that long for the city council to act on a public comment to this effect? Other than that, I would like to report that on this abandoned house, they are doing work, and I know that they're doing it under permits from the town on the house that I'm discussing, which is 597 West Price Street. They are doing a lot of work, so I mean, that's a plus to the town, you know, or I apologize to the city, and, you know, I'd like some comments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kaminsky.
Hey, Kaminsky, Maple Avenue. Good evening, once again. Can't help but to get disappointed every month that it really, things just devolve into name calling. I mean, again, it's just disappointing, and I ask folks just to refrain. I mean, everybody has, I think, the interest of Linden at hand, continue to move forward in that, and quite frankly, Mr. Roman hit on something there. These arguments, especially with regards to developments, can easily be analyzed. I don't hear any numbers, but any you know, rebuke to any assertions can be done from a simple cost-benefit analysis. Because as someone that's been in the business world, that has priced business for 20-some-odd years, there is bad business. And I've been a part of companies that have jettisoned divisions and the bad business. So although we are all anxious to see areas be redeveloped, it has to be the right development at the right price and not a giveaway. I'll leave my comments there. That being said, we have in about a half-mile to three-quarter-mile radius, quick back of the napkin math, close to 1,000 units coming on in the coming years, if everything goes through. We are already choking at the seams. And even with the building going up right now by the train station, the Meridia 2, you know, there's going to be businesses all on the first floor. Goes back to parking. There is a dearth of parking in town. So being off for several weeks, I'm really kind of getting out in the neighborhood, you know, trying to get more active, that the weather's been pretty decent. So I just want to bring it to the attention. Maybe these things have been looked at, but nonetheless, I'll put it out there to look at in terms of parking. There are spots, and at the end of the day, just again, do my quick analysis and looking, not being overly aggressive, you know, I found about 20 spots that were just kind of sitting there. And that doesn't even count the whole lot behind where the Dairy Queen and 2 Tonys are. My understanding is that used to be public parking, but it's not anymore. So it's a whole bunch of spots there that I know I used to use that have gone away. That being said, there's spots, could be spots across from Big Blues, on the side and in front of the first Meridia building. Price Street by the Pulaski lot in the back there. Munsell Avenue, I see this by schools as well, where in this case, the fire department has spots blocked off on the street. I think that is unfair, especially it's a relatively new building. It's right alongside the Verizon building. Maybe some kind of deal can be done with the Verizon folks. I never see that lot filled. Or there's just a grass lot behind that. Maybe the city could look into buying that and making a lot there. Pedestrian safety, too. I've seen a lot of near misses. I see people just running out there. Brought this up several years ago, but maybe as we're talking with New Jersey Transit, we could talk about, egresses from the platform to the opposite side of Wood Avenue. On the northbound side, that's all locked and loaded. You just basically have to extend, even maybe with like a metal grate stairwell that's there. On the southbound side, that gets a little bit trickier, but nonetheless, I think it bodes to have those discussions with New Jersey Transit and whoever else needs to make sure people get off at least one landing safely. There's a lot of talk about trees today, too, and initially, again, in my walks around the city over the last several weeks, I put some notes here. One thing that stood out to me, there are large swaths of Linden, main drags of Linden, that are lacking in trees. I mean, I play ball in Rahway every week, and as I go there in the morning, it's kind of peaceful. You get to kind of soak in the nature around you, and you could literally tell when you cross into Rahway because it has trees. Up to the Linden, the Linden side, it doesn't. So certainly St. George Avenue, literally from Rahway to Elizabeth, especially as we have new developments going on there, definitely some trees there. Roselle Street is lacking, and some areas certainly of Wood Avenue, especially across Route 1. I think we could do better to, at the end of the day, beautify our town, and this cuts across many wards. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Principato.
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. Again, I'm going to talk about the price per unit we're giving away these properties at, and I think that for someone who's been on council so long, not going to name any names, but the comment was made by the council person. You should be able to look at these projects and say, we need to get more money from that project. Or why don't we, before we put it out for bid, because it's been sitting so long, why don't we rezone it? Maybe we can get more money for it. Maybe get a professional to put a plan together. Because when you say things like, I've been here for so many years, and things keep going down, when property values are going up, you're giving away properties for nothing, it makes you look foolish, I'm not an expert, and I don't have a PhD, but I have common sense. And common sense tells me that if we're not getting what we should be getting, I'm going to go to professional and say, what do we do? What should we get? How can we change things to get more money, to get more value? I'd like the councilman of the 7th Ward to take a ride through the 7th Ward. I do it every day, from the Turnpike, over the Turnpike, back over, in by Bertram against the Turnpike. I bet you right now, I'm going to take a ride right after this, and I'm going to count the shopping carts that are hanging out on Style Street. Jack Sheehy used to go around and pick up shopping carts with his own vehicle. Remember that? I'm getting ready to do it myself, only because I have a business in the 7th Ward, and it makes me ill. And that property you're talking about, what we've been talking about, has a lot of them on there. The contractor wasn't using that property. The contractor was using the easement or driveway to drop their material, which they have every right to do, because I know the contractor. And they actually store their salt on the back of that property too. And that's where they're putting their construction debris. That's all from that property, from the airport property. not the lot. So I'd like you to take a ride with me, Councilman Strano, so I can show you. I already have the pictures on my phone, but I'd like to show you your ward. It's deplorable in certain areas. Maybe you don't know it, but I'd like to show you. And I'll be that Johnny-come-lately. Think about it. We don't need pilot programs in Linden. We have a train station. I've said this many times. It's desirable, very desirable property here. We don't need to give anything away. Think about it. Every time we give something away, what does it do for us? Our taxes go up. My taxes are ridiculous. Ridiculous. That's what my taxes are. It's a joke, the amount of money I pay in taxes for my home. It's insane. Council people can't even afford their taxes. Councilwoman said it. She can't even afford her taxes anymore. But let's keep giving stuff away. Come on. It's common sense.
Thank you. Excuse me. Sir, you're out of order, sir. Wait for your turn. Is Ms. Avian Reagan still here? All right. Ms. Twaddle?
Elise Twaddle, 438 Loretta Street, Linden. I have a few questions and a few comments. First, I'd like to know what happened to those pretty hanging planters we were going to get from the light poles. I believe we have Linden Uptown Incorporated signs on every pole up and down Wood Avenue. So thank you for that summer beautification program. I appreciate it very much as a taxpayer to the city. Second, my comment is I would like to thank Mr. Javik. We had a storm. I reached out to Mr. Bodak and Mr. Javik to let them know that there was a dangerous branch hanging. It did take a few days, but it was taken care of. But here's my comment and question. I appreciate that it was taken care of, but Mr. Dan, if the branch is broken and hanging right above a car, and the rest of the branches around are ready to go, why didn't they trim the rest of that tree when they were taking that branch down? They were there. So now, on the next block, there's more broken branches that are hanging down. I'm on Loretta Street. I know you're short-staffed, but if they were there to fix an issue, it would have been the same amount of time to cut the branches that are hanging over the street that are gonna cause more trouble. So just as a citizen and as a boss, if you would tell these guys, hey, if you see something, maybe it's easier to take care of it at the same time than going back out again for a second call because it will break because of the way it is structured over the street and everything. So toward the AA field, there is more branches on Loretta Street that are hanging over the cars. Also, with the beautification, I rode down Wood Avenue the other day, and you know, certain things capture your attention as you enter this city. I grew up here. I'm here 54 years, and I grew up across the street from school number 1 on Gibbon Street. And on the corner of Gibbon Street, there's a beautiful memorial park with a beautiful memorial and that beautiful clock. And it's an embarrassment. Everything is overgrown over the monument, over the sidewalk. You can't even see what belongs there because it's so overgrown. I know we're short-staffed, but certain things like these places should be priority for our city so that when somebody from another town comes in, Mr. Strano, am I boring you? It's important, this memorial, and I know you have.
That's the Board of Education property.
Hang on. Okay.
Councilman.
The Board of Education, I've been hearing it's the Board of Ed property, but the Board of Ed would never put up a memorial for veterans. It's an incorporation. This is something that we see as soon as we drive into our town. So if it's a Board of Ed that goes behind the memorial and the city that goes in front of the memorial, we really need to straighten it out and not fight about it because it looks disgusting. Now, having said that, I'm here to also give some other information with Mr. Verchek retiring. I wish him all the best. I know Mr. Kroback is an amazing worker as well. I wanted to let everybody know that if you are unaware, Mr. Verchek did the CDBG grants. A lot of your road money comes from these CDBG grants, and Armando can back me on this. I've spoken to Councilwoman Cosby last year and let her know that there is money for John Street. There is money for the senior programming at the recreation center. There's money to bring people in to do ceramics. There's money to bring people in to do nursing. There's money to bring people in to give health talks. You have to apply for it. The applications come out September, and they are due December. I want you to mark your calendars as council people. Mayor, CDBG grant money. It's free money. You just apply. The applications go in, they go before a panel, and the panel makes a decision. You might not get $10,000 for each project, you might get $6,000 for each project, but if you put it in and it meets the guidelines of the Community Development Block Grant Program, you will get that money. That's how a lot of your streets have been fixed. Well, a portion of your streets have been fixed. They have to fall within the guidelines. I thank everybody for your time, and I hope you will consider my requests. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Twaddle. Mr. Mack? No, this is public comments. This is public comments.
Oh, this is public comment? Oh, thank you.
Can you get behind the microphone?
Oh, y'all changed your policy, you didn't tell me. Everybody keep changing policy, don't tell me. Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, City Council, Member of Council, thank you so much. But the first thing I want to do tonight, on behalf of the people, the city clerk of the city of Linden, I want to congratulate and personally thank the city clerk. I think his name is, what's his name?
Joe, what's your name? Mr. Bodick.
I want to thank his staff. They are so wonderful. They are so wonderful. Mr. President of City Council, please don't start the clock. I asked for legal counsel, and he have gave me legal advice as long as I do not go over the boundary line to deal with anything personal. According to legal counsel, he have already advised me. I have already spoke to the captain, the chief of police, that if I don't go over the boundary line, I'm putting anyone personally involved. Don't start the clock.
I started the clock a minute ago.
I asked you not to start the clock, so that's why.
So you want specific rules for yourself, sir?
No, I'm not asking for that. I humble myself. I respectfully ask you. I have no intention on
Just
that to
continue,
change the
sir.
rules.
Continue.
I just wanted to make sure that I had enough time to bring to your attention and the mayor's attention what they, the people, I didn't say it, the people told me to tell the people. And I just wanted to make sure that we didn't start the clock because I have had a very serious problem with you for years over the fact that you have cut my time frame and I can't tell you what the people said.
Okay.
And my point to be here today is to tell you what the people said. I don't have no interest in the agenda tonight. That's why I even look at it. I looked at it, but I had no intention of it. I want to talk to you, to the mayor. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to the city council on behalf of the people. With your permission, with the mayor's permission, and with your permission, I want to talk to you guys on behalf of the people that sent me. I didn't ask them to send me up here. They asked me, will I do it? Now you can start the clock.
Sir,
Start?
please speak.
Thank you kindly. Mr. Mayor, President of City Council, Chief of Police, and on his representatives tonight, and members of you, I respectfully appear before you honorable people. I said honorable, because y'all have been good to me. And I want to say on behalf of George Bukowski, Mayor DeGorio, my people that raised me. I want to be out, that's why I want to be on the record. My position, why do y'all think I'm so hard on y'all? Because George Bukowski raised me and taught me. And I have no intentions on changing the policy of John DeGorio. I have no intentions on changing the policy. No intention on changing the policy of the president that's sitting that chair as president of City Council, Bukowski. You got to be out of your mind. And I mean it. And I mean it. The people told me to tell you, Mr. President of City Council, you need to break your system down. I heard some of the people say. If I'm in the 4th Ward, if I got a problem in the 4th Ward, I ain't got no business in the mayor's office with the 4th Ward. I got a problem with the councilman of the 4th Ward. It must be further acknowledged. I want to thank the mayor. I went to the mayor's office, and the mayor's office was so generous and so kind to me, because they returned my phone calls. The mayor returned my phone call. Maybe he didn't do it, but he had his office to do it. And I'm talking to this, you know who you did call me. I call you if I call a city council member. Watch the language now. And you didn't call me back. The people told me to tell you. I didn't call you because I wanted to call you, because I had no intention of talking to you. The people told me, call my, Peter Brown, I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Your time is up.
Huh? We'll talk after me.
Thank you, Mr. Mack.
Why did you do that, Council? I asked you when I started not to do it.
Mr. Mack,
No further question.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sierra?
Mr. Mayor, President Council, council members, Mr. Israel Sierra, Tatum Wood Avenue, Linden. First time up here. Didn't need to be, being that I had so many conversations with representatives of Linden that I love so much. I congratulate every single one of you guys. I mean, you really tolerate a lot. But there's a lot of experts out here that are not doing that much either, as far as complaining about this. I walk the city every day. Up and down Wood Avenue, most of your wards. I see things. But one of the things I see and I care most is about my veteran brothers. It saddens me to say that I had spoken with the representatives of the particular ward, yet nothing's being done. Now, years have gone by. I mean, I only got 5 minutes, so I hope I can just put it in simple words. There's a monument called Farewell, George Farewell, colleague, gave his life. Yet, I pass by every Memorial Day and I see our council representatives, BFWs, our residents, and they go and salute it wholeheartedly. I do it every time. I also visit Vietnam Memorial, which is pretty. It's out front, decorating our city house. But when I go to Farewell Park, I get sad. Then I speak to the people who represent the ward, and they promise and promise. So the guys say, Izzy, time has come, you gotta go let them know and remind them that this is why we elect you. This is why we put you where you are right now, because you're experts. If you're not, you become experts, or you try to be, to help sell our beautiful city. I know the concerns, security, wonderful. I even hear that they got trees to give away. I need a tree there that came down because of certain, I guess, Mother Nature or maybe some truck. However, the monument is in decay. For those of you who probably have noticed, or maybe who have never visited, I have pictures. If you'd like to see them, I'll show you. My concern is for my brotherhood, for my veterans. And when we get a monument and we get a memory of something, we want it to be nice. I want to go there and I'm going to salute my flag and I want to look at George's monument after I visit the Vietnam Memorial that we have. Please, I'm pleading, I'm asking to whoever it is, because I'm not going to point which department is responsible or what. If somebody is not responsible, then please let me know, and maybe I could get a fundraiser going to have it fixed. Because today, you got bricks that make it look nice instead of wood. You could put artificial turf on the square part out of it. When that flag hangs up there, and the tree that was there goes back, then I think my brother George will probably be happy. Just like every other monument, I heard a young lady speak before. Whatever monuments are up there, I think we have enough personnel that can handle it. And it doesn't take a month, it doesn't take 5 years. But I really thank the public workers of the city because they do a hard job. But sometimes your hands are tied. You got to start loosening up on these hands and let these people go to work. Another issue besides the monument is because I'm a Lindenite, and I love Linden, and people are selling Linden the wrong way. You want to put buildings. You want to make it look beautiful. What about the infrastructure? What about the city? What about John Street? What about the kids who have no recreation? What about the parks? I visit the same park at Farewell's Memorial. You think I'll take my 3-year-old to play there? My grandson? Your grandson? You think you want to take him there? Sometimes, because as a council representative, as a ward representative, I think you should just take a walk and look. Just look. Don't let nobody tell you nothing. Because we elect you to represent each one in each ward. And I know you guys work together, and I know you guys struggle. Some people fight against each other. I get props because it's difficult, it's not easy to understand government, to understand law, to understand our taxpayers. All we get to do is pay, pay, pay. We get nothing. We're getting nothing. I don't know about anybody else, but there's nothing. You walk around the streets, it's supposed to be beautiful. Wood Avenue, what a beautiful complex. What about issue? What security? The chief of police works hard, but there's something missing.
Mrs. Sierra, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I would ask for extended, but I'm short. But I'll get you next time.
Mr. Mack, you're out of order right now. Well, what's the matter?
My concern was, I would respect each, I would like to piggyback on what he said. And the bottom line is that what he's saying, it's got some humane, got some substance to it, like the language.
Okay, so we will look into it.
But the bottom line, with public work, the superintendent of public work, and we stand in my conversation with public work, and the staff of public work.
Thank you, sir.
It's one of the unique teams that we got in Linden.
Okay, thank you.
But the bottom line is, I have a very serious problem with
Mr. Mack, we'll talk later. Thank you, sir. I need a motion to get out of the public comments.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Crosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Aye.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Anybody wants a minute?
Yes.
3, 5. Anybody else? All right, that's it. Mr. Brown, Councilman Brown?
All right, I'm going to talk about it more next month, but I try to talk it early so it'll be as quickly as possible. John was here and Ed, you're here. I'm going to combine your guys' comments. Yes, you're right. We should look at the numbers, and we do. You know, the comments that are made by council members here, the same ones that are made yesterday or new ones, and on Mondays, we have discussions where professionals come and talk to us. So us giving the land away for free is completely nonsense. Now, with that being said, the pilot program, we talk about dollars and cents. I'm the only one here in council that's showing you guys there's a report that's done by our professionals. You want to know the numbers, is that at first they came with a pilot program for 20 years instead of 30 years. We normally give 30 years. There's people in the dais here that vote for 30-year pilots. This is a 20-year pilot where at first the developer came us for 10%. However, it's negotiated back that the pilot program over 20 years would give us actually 12%. Therefore, the option between option 1 and option 2, what was originally agreed upon and what was negotiated, is an increase of $371,000. No one here is talking about that, but it's the rhetoric
Councilman?
that's being put out there that's untrue.
Thank you.
If anyone wants to see the report, it's here.
Councilwoman Cosby?
So, just really briefly, Ms. Twaddle did come to me and she approached me about the van. We have the senior in motion van. And she said, hey, you know, the city can get this money to pay the driver's salary because there were some issues with getting a driver, part-time, blah, 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 whatever. And there was no interest at the time by the management. So hopefully now, under recreation, that people can actually take a better and a harder interest in getting the grant money. We've missed so many grant opportunities over the years that it's just ridiculous because nobody wants to do the work. And Izzy, thank you. You showed me the memorial on Memorial Day, and you know, I see what you're talking about, and I feel what you're saying, and thank you. And not for nothing that we're all up here because the residents voted for us and they expect certain things from us. And you know, we do this twice a month, but we have a job to do on a daily basis in the streets. So like I do walk the ward, I ride the ward, but some people don't. And then when you call them and tell them there's an issue, well, that's my neighborhood. Why are you getting a phone call? Well, we got to call our residents back. So we just got to do what we're supposed to do while we're here.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Medina?
Thank you, Council President. Real brief, I failed to congratulate Councilman Brown on his new addition to his family, so congratulations. With that said, I also ask folks just to keep the families, the 4 little ones that were lost in Union City in their prayers, and also just check your smoke detector and carbon dioxide detector. That was just a terrible tragedy in Union City for those 4 little ones, and it breaks my heart. So, oh, it's 5, excuse me, the latest one did pass away, I believe, today. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. The following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting Monday, August 20th, 2018 at 6 p.m. in the Council Conference Room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting, Tuesday, August 21st, 2018 at 6 p.m. in the Council Conference Room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Tuesday, August 21st, 2018 at 7 p.m. in the Council Chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Crosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Aye.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
I think you have to go through
We adjourn.